Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where today I want to talk about what I consider to be one of the best songs of all time. And I think it's a favorite of a lot of people, even though it was one of those kinds of songs that no one who knows the business would have ever really guessed would have hit it this big. And this song is, of course, Africa, written by David Paich and Jeff Porcaro of Toto, a band that, in the words of the South Park mayor, everybody likes, and I think she's right, although she's fictional. Um, so Toto, as we all know, Toto was a band that sort of grew up among highly talented studio musicians who dominated the sound of both pop, rock, and jazz fusion throughout frankly, from the beginning to the end of the 70s, and of course well beyond, because of course the guys in Toto didn't quit their session day jobs even when the band went big. You've got people like Steve Lukather, for instance, playing on Michael Jackson's Thriller, same with Toto's Jeff Porcaro, and I could go on, but they played on everything. If it was popular in the 70s, 80s, and beyond, there's a higher likelihood than not that if session musicians were used, some of the guys, or even many of the guys in Toto, were on that record. Now, by the time that they got to their fourth album as a band in 1982, they really found their sound. I mean, I would argue that even from Toto 1, they found their sound. And this is because these were seasoned musicians who knew both music theory, music composition, and the inner workings of a music studio inside and out. It's what they did all day and all of the night. But something really just extra special clicked on this fourth album. There's not a bad song on the album, which is the test I use to really determine the difference between a good album and a great album. The fourth Toto album really is a great album. And the final song in their minds was sort of something as a throwaway. It was kind of written more to show off the new Yamaha synthesizers that both David Paich and Steve Porcaro were experimenting with at the time, the GS1 and the CS80, and very advanced synthesizers for the time, and in many ways, even now. And one thing led to another. On the GS1, they found this kalimba sound programmed into one of the presets. They played around with that. And one thing led to another. They went from thinking, what can we do to make these instruments serve a useful function, to let's get super creative. So Jeff Porcaro arranged a whole percussion intro that goes, that carries on throughout the song. And one thing led to another, and we're seeing the formation of one of the most sophisticated songs to ever hit the pop charts. Harmonically sophisticated, rhythmically sophisticated, sonically new, novel, unusual. But there was something about it that was just so irresistible. The harmonies, I think, are really what makes it so unique, and also the sound, because even though these synthesizers became very popular, I mean, the CS80, I believe it's called. Yamaha was around for a few years earlier in the late 70s, but it was still quite new at this time. But the way that the guys in Toto used these synths was just, it's one of those things where when it came on the radio, you thought, this sounds kind of different, but at the same time, kind of familiar and reassuring. And then there's the misunderstood lyric of I miss the rains down in Africa, where it's I bless the rains down in Africa. And this was a story that was that David Paich, the main composer of the song, told. And he was talking, I believe, to one of the Porcaro brothers, and the story came up about a nun talking about her time in Africa when she would literally say a blessing so that the crops might grow and the rains might come. And they just toyed a bit with that, and there you get the famous misunderstood chorus to Africa. But the song has appeared in many different guises. It's been used in movies and TV and advertisements, and it's been remade. And it's one of those songs that just sort of won't go away. And I think that's a really good thing, because Toto were one of those bands that were just super talented, and it was kind of because most of them got their start, well, all of them got their start behind the scenes. Anyone who really loves music and musicians was kind of rooting for them when they became superstars in their own right, albeit faceless ones, because if any of the guys in Toto were sort of standing behind you in the grocery store today, unless you watch this channel, you might not recognize them. Although the minute the Toto comes on the PA system at the grocery store, you'll instantly know the song. Such is the lot of a wonderful studio musician. And that's why I love this song. Hit number one this week in 1983. As always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.